think I'm done. I don't think I can do any more. I think I might have to stop. No, man. I'm just... Throughout the month of August, starting 5th of August, I'm going to be running to every one of the 20 Premier League stadiums from the 2024-2025 season.
First and foremost, I thought he was absolute lunatic for even contemplating it.
That's going to be just over 3 weeks of running. There will be some walking in there as well because I'm never going to be able to run at all. But I also want to walk because I want to try and invite as many people to come along as possible. Something that I've always been really passionate about is community and bringing people together.
He'll talk to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are or what position you're in. He has a level of comfort when he does that. But I think that comes from experience, and I don't mean sort of like experience within the field of work field. He's experienced something, and when he talks, he knows what he's talking about, and it comes from the heart.
I'm aiming to raise £135,000 for suicide prevention, but I want to have conversations with people who's been affected by suicide, who are still here, to share hope, to share the fact that there is a life after suicide.
The ultimate goal was so important to Matthew. It had to be achieved.
What is a big brother? A big brother is someone who comforts you when you're down. He makes you happy, pretends he's a clown. Even though you might fight, he's always there from morning till night. Dan was the perfect older brother. Happy, funny, positive, really positive. I can't really remember seeing him sad. I think probably the most times I would see him sad is when we're watching Newcastle. I literally did worship him, literally. He was everything I wanted to be. He was on this pedestal, and I still now don't know really why Dan chose to do what he did. Day 3 of running to 20 Premier League stadiums for suicide prevention. We've left Chichester. We've got a long one today, 30 odd, 33 to 36 miles, depending on how my legs are doing. Garmin says I need to rest. Garmin can off, 30 odd miles, here we go. I'm trying to raise £135,000, which is a significant amount of money for us as an organisation.
So it was part of Mission 135, and Matthew, as part of that, has set himself the personal target of raising £135,000. Now that was over the course of the year, and it still is over the course of the year. So, you know, that challenge is still ongoing, and people are still able to donate to it. For the charity itself, it's kind of been part of most of my life. I say it unfortunately because, you know, if I had the choice, I wouldn't be sat here having this conversation. So back in 2005, I lost my older brother Dan to suicide. Dan was never a person that you would expect to make the decision that he did. He was 19, he was popular, loved football, massive Newcastle fan, and still kind of 19 years on, we don't know why he made that decision. My mum and dad have spoke kind of very openly about this. Suicide was a subject that passed them by before this happened to us, but what we realised is we're not the only ones that were experiencing this, but are experiencing this, and within the North East. You know, we've had some of the highest rates for a number of years now, and we just decided we wanted to do something to try and stop others going through what we went through. So obviously, with the march being on in Brighton today, I've been thinking a little bit about everything that's going on all over the country, and I wouldn't share kind of any of my views because, well, I'm not in a position to do that, and it's not helpful. But the one thing I am trying to do today, and I challenge everybody, when you walk past somebody, in my case run, just smile and say hello. It's quite nice. Gives me a little lift on the run as well, so give it a go. Nice to be nice, isn't it?
It started, you know, out of the mouths of babes, I say. Matthew was 10, Ben was 5 and Sarah was 12 when they came up with the idea after losing Dan You know, If You Care Share, they came up with that campaign name. And that in itself was remarkable, given, you know, that as parents, we were just, all we could do was put one foot in front of the other, and here were these three young people, the kids, who just didn't want this to happen to anybody else.
Me, my brother and my cousin came up with the idea of a wristband with the slogan, "If you care, share," and Dan's name on. And we just wanted people to remember Dan. The idea with If You Care, Share was, if you care about yourself, your family, your friends, you should share how you feel, but most importantly, kind of, you know, that token. And we just wanted to give it to Dan's mates, but actually what we realised is we probably could try and make a bit of a difference and give some money to charity. And we wanted to target young men. We wanted to target young men in the North East. What better way to do that than football? So we sold the wristband at all the grounds, and we raised just under £50,000, which we give to Samaritans, which was amazing. And, you know, I think really emphasised for us the power of football and how it can have conversations around subjects that we find quite difficult. And that kind of propelled us to where we are now as a charity, which is a charity now working across the North East and across the country, trying to prevent suicide, trying to train people on how to intervene with somebody who might be suicidal, and supporting people who's been affected by suicide as well.
The hat's having a rest because I look like a penis. I've hit my first path in, like, I don't know, 6 mile. Buzzing. Just coming into Lyndhurst. Any Southampton fans, I'll be at St Mary's, I'm arriving today.
Our national reach is working with football clubs, delivering workshops, but our main focus is trying to help the people of the North East who are quite often feeling the impact of suicide more than other communities, unfortunately.
He announced it in the June and started it in the August, and I just thought there's no way can you be physically prepared for that, because first and foremost, he doesn't run. You know, it's not as though he's a runner, he plays football.
We're seeing it more and more of actually how football plays a part in everybody's mental health. You know, I think we always box mental health off as a negative thing, when clearly it's not. It's something we're all dealing with, and football can play a huge part in that and how we're feeling in terms of having a good day, a bad day based on a result. But I think for me, one of the big challenges that we always find around mental health is how we have these conversations. And I think football is a bridge, can be a bridge, because we do express our emotions in a way we probably wouldn't elsewhere.
The season's back. Football is back. Man United, Fulham tonight. I need to do my fantasy team.
My original ambition with this was to try and continue the work and expand the work that we're doing, because there's so much demand for what we're doing in the North East. But it's become even more important, necessary, because of the restrictions on our funding at this moment in time. We are not receiving any specific funding for suicide prevention. The reason I chose 135 was so it's estimated that for one loss to suicide, 135 people are affected on average. So I wanted to do this for every one person of that 135, but the best way I feel to help that 135 is to keep that one person here. And the only way that we can still do that is with the resource.
I'm currently at Leicester City Stadium and I've got the amazing support team with us. Give us a wave. Give us a wave. Right, I'm going to say bye.
So my part in that is not being a runner and not being able to kind of support the active. The active challenge is kind of helping with the logistics and making sure on his run on a day-to-day basis, that's all he had to think about, was making sure that he could just wake up on a morning and run and kind of go back to sleep on an evening again and start it all again the next day. Everything else in between, my job was to sort and make sure that happened.
It's really me sitting down doing now. That's good. I'll do that then. You can turn on top then when I arrive.
Oh no!
That's when he was born. Matthew.
Dan was 19 when he took his own life, and it's now been over 19 years that I've spent without him. And it was quite a sobering thought at first. And I think there's always a perception when it comes to grief that, you know, time is a healer and all this sort of kind of cliche stuff. And my thing with that is you find your ways to cope, but there's always that next significant date. So I think that there is going to be some real poignancy to what I'm doing. I think there'll be some real emotion, and it means a lot. It means a lot. You know, I'm wanting to do this for other people, but also it means so much to me to be able to do this in Dan's legacy, because he was a person when he was here that made so much difference and brought so much happiness to so many people.
It even took a little bit of time to see some of the sights. Covent Palace. We're on our way now. London Stadium.
7 mile?
7 miles, something like that. My hat's looking awful.
I was just overcome with emotion.
It's today, baby. We're on our way to St James's Park.
He shouldn't have to be doing this.
But it is incredible what people can achieve.
That was one of the major challenges, kind of when we initially started on the run. We didn't actually have all the accommodation sorted, and we didn't necessarily know where we were going to stay, or what days we'd be arriving in certain places, other than kind of a rough estimate. So kind of we had the first 4 or 5 days of accommodation sorted, but beyond that, we were going into the unknown of thinking, this is roughly where we're going to be ending that day, but can we get accommodation sorted? So thankfully we were able to use our contacts and reach out via various methods, you know, kind of to local groups and people back in the northeast who very generously donated a hotel room or kind of an Airbnb for the night, and we were able to kind of make it work on a day-by-day basis. But some days we were waking up and setting off on a morning and not knowing where we were going to sleep that night, so it can be quite challenging.
Now then, for morning, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a behind the scenes on how the day starts. I've had my Cocoa Pops, we're having a bit of a later start this morning because I did 36 miles yesterday. My Garmin, I stopped to talk to somebody and I didn't press start, so I missed 2 miles, but I promise you I did 36.
And meeting those people that would have never heard about the run until kind of we went past them with a bright van that said Matthew's Run on the side, or Matthew ran past them with his top on, or we were just stopping for lunch somewhere, and people just come up and talk to us going, what the heck are you doing? Why are you here? And some of those conversations are the most fascinating conversations that I have. Be like, oh, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and then them taking an active interest and being able to get involved, or them having their own personal stories, and, you know, us just being able to provide a little bit of advice from our point of view, from, you know, our work with the charity throughout the last, you know, 2 decades.
This is where we're staying. I'm not going to show you too much because Sam's currently in a towel. Normally starts with the Olympics on the morning. Yeah. Lots of packing going on. This is all my wash and dried.
We managed to get in every club and have different varying levels of support from every club, so that was a massive positive, yeah.
I guess my biggest sort of support for Matthew, and this is something that we talked about in the months leading up, was we agreed that the biggest way I could support Matthew on the run, certainly not by running because I'm not a runner, was that I could hold the fort and keep everything running here alongside the team whilst Matthew was away running 800 miles, but so that he could focus solely on the running itself and not have everything that was happening here while Matthew was away to worry about.
Just before I have lunch, what time is it? 1348. I've done 18.7 miles, right? For everybody that thinks it's miles and stadiums. So far today, I nearly soiled myself at the hotel. I've got a boil of a blister on my heel, on my right foot strapped up. We were meant to have a lovely run along the canal, which was blocked by landslides. So we've been through nettles, we've been through thorns, we've been through barbed wire, we've been through electric fences, dogs barking in the background, running through mud. Look at the state of my shoes. But we still smile and we still enjoy it, because actually it's really not that bad for what we're trying to do. So it's not all enjoyment, but surely that's worth a sponsor. I mean, look at them.
And Matthew said to me, you know, Mum, when I do find it hard, I just look down at those names and know that this is bigger than me. It's bigger than the charity. It's about these families who burden the weight every day of all those people on this shirt. And that, more than anything, is the thing that keeps us going.
I was tasked with kind of creating the visual for the running top and kind of getting that manufacturing produced as well. And we knew front and centre those loved ones' names were going to be there. That was golden rule number one. And then to see that come to fruition and kind of how we got all those names in, the number of people that wanted to be involved, to see their loved ones kind of go on this journey as well, was staggering, amazing, and also quite sad at the same time.
We're here at St James's Park, home of Matthew Smith's beloved Newcastle United, where after over 800 miles, after 19 Premier League stadiums, after a lot of aches and pains, Matthew will finish his epic fundraising run.
The relationship he had with Dan was just hero worship on both sides. You know, it was his big brother. Matthew was the cool kid who used to hang out with, you know, Dan and his mates. All Dan's mates knew Matthew because he'd be there.
It's today, baby. We're on our way to St James's Park. Lost some extra runners with us today.
They had a shared passion. Ben at the time was 5. He was just starting to learn to kick a ball with his brothers in the garden. But they had that shared passion of football, and you know, Daniel would finish work early to go and see Matty play. Matty played for the school, he played for the district, then later on he went to play for Hartlepool, and you know, that shared love, but also, you know, admiration on both sides, that, you know, Dan's little brother was really good at football, but also, you know, Matthew the other way, looking up as Dan being his big brother, and he was a really popular lad, and Matthew really loved being with Dan. Seeing the way in which, when he finished at Newcastle, everybody being there was overwhelming, yet the one person that he wants to be there isn't. So it's always that bittersweet moment. First time I saw Matthew was at the Angel of the North, and I was just overcome with emotion. Just to see him with Ben, you know, because Matthew he literally ran into my arms, and it was like that. Whew, it's over. He's only got a mile to go. But also that sense of pride. You know, it's always bittersweet because you've got that sense of pride and, oh my God, he's back and he's done it. But then that sense of, he shouldn't have to be doing this.
The run raised about £40,000, £40,000 to £50,000 of that, which is amazing. And, you know, the support from the businesses and kind of local community again that we've seen has been fantastic. but we know that can go further, and we know what else we want to achieve as a charity to ultimately prevent suicide and also then support people who have unfortunately been bereaved. So to do that, obviously, that's where the fundraising and the challenge has been really vital for us. So anything that Matthew is able to do to help reach his target has been invaluable.
But it is incredible what people can achieve when they have a reason and a goal and a drive and a passion and something that they really want to raise awareness of and something that they really want to get out there and a message.
That should not be the responsibility of charities like ourselves. It's, you know, our region and the Northeast, everything that's happened with the levelling up agenda, or everything that didn't happen with the levelling up agenda, you know, proven that we can save lives. To have that fund and then withdrawn, it's criminal.
I'm still a little bit in shock, I think, to be honest. I think it's going to take a little while to appreciate actually what I've achieved. It feels brilliant. It feels like really special to have special people here and people who's made a massive, I'm pointing at you, Mark, because you've massively helped. People that's really helped along the way, and I couldn't have done it by myself. So
since inception, we've actually, I was just looking at this the other day, and we're nearly at our 6,000 people now that we've directly supported one-to-one who have been either bereaved or affected by suicide, as well as people who struggle with suicidal thoughts themselves. And that's on just the support side. Obviously, within the other elements of what we do around training, working with young people and awareness, we've worked with hundreds of thousands of young people now.
People say, you know, you must be so proud of what's been achieved through the work that the team do at If You Care Share. And I wish we'd never ever had to start the charity, you know, but we did it because there was nothing there. So it's not something, I think somebody once explained to me, it's like becoming a member of a club you'd never asked to join. And we've got membership for life, but we're just there as members, working to try and prevent. We don't want that membership to increase.
I wasn't expecting that many people to come. Yeah, it was, I think because of just the pure emotion, I didn't really kind of take it all in at the time. I think it's only now that I'm really appreciating how amazing it is to have so many people. And yeah, I think the next few days, the next few weeks, I'll be looking back with some real fondness and appreciation of the amazing people that have helped. Still a lot of fundraising to go. I don't know where my page is actually at right now, but I know there's a long way to go. There's still a big amount, and we'll keep trying. You know, I'll keep asking, but I'm also realistic, and I've raised a huge amount of money. You know, it's not a small amount that we've raised, and I'm very grateful to every single person that's supported, given. Yeah, it's amazing.
There's a lot going on in the world, there's a lot of challenges, but we need to be talking about the fact of how many people are taking their own lives. So if you do anything today, share this with everybody, let them know that there's still hope, there's always a way, and just keep pushing through the pain and you'll get there. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you at St. James's. Come on!